All right. So we're going to get into the actual indictment of Jussie Smollett. We went over in great detail the special counsel's report, the Office of the Special Counsel, Dan Webb, and we went through that. It's on the Daily Facts. If you're interested, you can go out to the YouTube channel and take a look at it. Now we're going to get into the actual indictments that Jussie Smollett, the counts that he's facing. So let's just get a little background here. Jussie Smollett, he was born June 21st, 1982, and that makes him 38 years old. He's from Santa Rosa, California. That's his hometown. His former position, I mean, I guess you could say he's currently still an actor and a singer. His net worth is 1.5 million. And, you know, he I believe has Greg Garagos as his attorney, and he doesn't come cheap. Michael Jackson hired Greg Garagos, so that 1.5 million, good luck. Of course, he has a family, he's parents and 5 siblings. Now, this is a little confusing, but he was arrested on February 20th of 2019. And you know, he was subsequently released. The charges were dropped. And so now the special counsel, that report, now that he has been indicted and it's been resurrected, basically the case has been resurrected. And so he's currently awaiting trial. He's not in any detention center. All right, so I've put together a timeline. So we know that on January the 29th of 2019 is when Jussie Smollett reported, you know, all of these different things that allegedly happened to him. Okay, so that was on January 29th, 2019, when he made the police report. On February 15th, he sat down for an interview with Robin Robbins on ABC. And let's just take a listen to some of this.
And actor Jussie Smollett sat down with me for his first interview since that night in Chicago. Smollett told me how he's doing now and responds to those who doubt his account.
I'm pissed off.
What is it that has you so angry? Is it the attackers?
It's the attackers, but it's also the attacks. It's like, you know, at first it was a thing of like, listen, if I tell the truth, then that's it, because it's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Then it became a thing of like, oh, how can you doubt that? Like, how do you not believe that? It's the truth.
Okay. We know that he wasn't telling the truth based on the special counsel's report and the police report and the fact that he's been indicted. Now, he is innocent until proven guilty, okay? Now, on February 21st of 2019, NBC did a report, a news piece on Jussie Smollett, because now he has been arrested. Okay, so on the 29th of January 2019, he reported the incident. On February 15th, he was still a free man, and he sat down with Robin Robbins. Now he is being, he's arrested. So let's hear what this has to say.
Jussie Smollett in custody and under arrest just minutes ago. Police released his mugshot. Here it is. In just a short time from now, he'll be in front of a judge for a bond hearing. Investigators say he is no victim and that his story is now unraveling. From alleged victim to suspected criminal, today Jussie Smollett faces a felony charge of disorderly conduct after detectives in Chicago say he filed a false police report. The bombshell turn of events comes 3 weeks after Smollett told investigators he was the victim of a race-based homophobic hate crime.
Okay, and we know that that has turned out to not be true based on the indictments. All right, now that was February 21st of 2019. Now we are into March. And on March 26th of 2019, the charges were dropped on Jussie Smollett. So let's take a listen.
Now we're also following breaking news out of the United States. Prosecutors are dropping all charges against Empire actor Jussie Smollett. He was accused of staging a racist and homophobic attack against himself. Smollett was also indicted earlier this month on 16 felony counts of disorderly conduct for allegedly filing a false police report. So Laura McQuillan is here with more on the twist now in this drama. What can you tell us, Laura?
I think this is all coming out of a court hearing in Chicago this morning, and we're
Okay, so he goes from January 29, 2019, reporting it, a crime, to on February 15th, sitting down with Robin Robbins to talk about the crime that he claimed was committed against him, to February 21st of 2019 being arrested, and then March 26th of 2019, where the charges are dropped. Okay. Now, also on March 26, 2019, Rahm Emanuel, the mayor of Chicago at the time, and police superintendent Eddie Johnson, they came out on the same day that this was announced, the charges were dropped, because they were blindsided. They did not know that the charges had been dropped. Kim Foxx's office did not inform them until about an hour or so, I believe, before the charges were dropped, not giving them enough time to do anything. Now, I did go through all of this in the Jussie Smollett Special Prosecutor's Report that you'll find on my YouTube channel, on the Daily Facts YouTube channel. You may want to check that out. Okay, so the media was also, they were not made aware either. So no one was kept abreast of what was going on until right up until the announcement. So let's take a listen to what Rahm Emanuel and Superintendent Eddie Johnson have to say.
I'm sure we all know what occurred this morning. My personal opinion is that you all know where I stand on this. Do I think justice was served? No. Where do I think justice is? I think this city is still owed an apology.
On financial costs, this $10,000 doesn't even come close to what the city spent in resources to actually look over the camera, gather all the data, gather all information that actually brought the indictment by the grand jury.
So there you have former mayor of Chicago, Rahm Emanuel, and he's talking about the amount that so Jussie Smollett gave $10,000 in restitution, I guess you could call it. I'm not exactly sure what that's called, but it's in my report, my YouTube channel. I talk about that on the Jussie Smollett, the Special Prosecutor's Report. It was $130,000, I do believe, that the police spent on overtime. And so that was just a fraction of, you know, really what they were probably looking for. At any rate, that happened on March 26th. Now we move to February 11th, 2020, when the special counsel's report is dropped. Let's take a listen.
News to bring you exclusively right here on News Now. Thank you so much for joining us. It all has to do with Jussie Smollett. Remember him? Well, he has been indicted today by a special prosecutor in Chicago. The former Empire actor was indicted today in Chicago by special prosecutor Dan Webb, stemming from the alleged racist and anti-gay attack on him that occurred in January of 2019. A source.
So there you have it. The Dan Webb special counsel has indicted Jussie Smollett. Now, on August 17th, 2020, just a few days ago, the special counsel report came out. And again, I went through that entire report, and you can find it on the Daily Facts YouTube channel. So let's just take a listen to what was said here.
Breaking news this morning in the ongoing Jussie Smollett case. A special prosecutor's report found no evidence to support criminal charges against Cook County State's Attorney Kim Foxx or anyone in her office.
But the report does say that Foxx and her office misled the public during the initial stages of the Smollett prosecution. A judge asked Dan Webb to serve as special prosecutor to investigate after the initial charges were dropped against Smollett, who in January 2019 claimed he was the victim of a racist and homophobic attack. Chicago police determined Smollett made up the attack story and charged him with disorderly conduct. Those charges were dropped by the state's attorney.
Okay, so that is our timeline. I'm just going to go over it really quickly. So on January 29th, 2019, Jussie Smollett reported to the police this alleged crime. On February 15th, he sat down with Robin Robbins and talked about what had happened to him, allegedly happened to him. Then on February 21st, he was arrested. And basically because the police said that he lied. On March 26th, the charges were dropped. March 26th of 2019, the charges were dropped. On that same day, March 26, 2019, Mayor Rahm Emanuel and Superintendent Eddie Johnson came out because they were shocked. They had no idea what was happening, that the charges were being dropped, and they were not pleased about it. Then on November 11th, Jussie Smollett was indicted again on 6 counts. So there was a special counsel who was assigned to review the goings-ons, why Kim Foxx, who was overseeing this case, the prosecutor, decided to drop the charges. And then on August the 17th, the special counsel dropped his report, which I, again, went over in great detail, and you can find that on the Daily Facts. So that is it. Now we're going to take a look. We're going to go through the actual indictment. Okay, so let's get into it. The grand jurors chosen, selected, and sworn in and for the County of Cook in the state of Illinois, in the name and by the authority of the people of the state of Illinois, upon their oaths present that on or about January 29, 2019, at and within the county of Cook, Jussie Smollett committed the offense of disorderly conduct. All right, so let's get into it. In the he knowingly transmitted or caused to be transmitted in any manner to any peace officer, to wit, Chicago police officer Mohammed Beg, a report to the effect that an offense had been committed, to wit, on January 29, 2019 at around 2:45 a.m. Jussie Smollett reported in person that he was the victim of a hate crime. Okay. Let's see, on January 29, 2019 at approximately 2 a.m. near 341 East Lower North Water Street in Chicago, Cook County, Illinois, 2 unknown males approached Jussie Smollett, called Jussie Smollett racial and homophobic slurs, and struck Jussie Smollett. And the 2 unknown males made physical contact of an insulting or provoking nature with Jussie Smollett by putting a rope around his neck. And Jussie Smollett knew at the time of this transmission there was no reasonable ground for believing that such an offense had been committed. Okay, in violation of Chapter 720, Act 5, 261A4, okay, and so on and so forth. All right, so that's count 1. Let's move along. Now you'll notice that a lot of this sounds like it's repetitive, and it is, but it involves different police officers or police officer and detectives, okay? So the next one is, again, disorderly conduct. And let's see, to any peace officer, okay, Chicago police officer Muhammad Beg, a report to the effect that an offense had been committed, to wit, on January 29, 2019, at around 2:45 a.m., Jussie Smollett reported in person that he was the victim of a battery, a violation of Chapter 720, so on and so forth, of the Illinois compiled statutes. This occurred, it says, January 29, 2019, at approximately 2 a.m. near 341 East Lower Tower, so on and so forth, in Cook County, Illinois. Two unknown males approached Smollett and struck Jussie, and the two unknown males made physical contact of an assaulting or provoking nature with Smollett, pouring an unknown chemical substance believed to be bleach onto Jussie Smollett. All right, so that's what differs. One of the obvious differences between count 1 and count 2 is that now they're introducing the chemical substance, which was believed to be bleach. Okay. All right, moving on to the next, disorderly conduct. And this is now being reported to Police Detective Kimberly Murray. Prior, it was Muhammad Beg, the police officer. Now we're moving into the third count, and this is being reported by Kimberly Murray, Chicago police detective. So on January 29, 2019, at around 5:55, okay, now the time is different because it's, they're talking to two different people, two different times on the same day. Jussie Smollett reported in person that he was the victim of a hate crime. And let's see, let's get to the actual crime part. Reporting that on January 29, 2019, at approximately 2 a.m. near the intersection of New Street and Lower North Water Street in Chicago, Cook County, Illinois, Jussie Smollett had racial and homophobic slurs called out at him, and two unknown offenders approached Jussie Smollett from behind, and Jussie Smollett was punched in the face and kicked in the back, causing bodily harm to Jussie Smollett. And Jussie Smollett knew at the time of this transmission there was no reasonable ground for believing that such an offense had been committed. And that's stated on all of them. As you can see, he knew at the time that the transmission, there was no reasonable ground. And on the first one, he knew at the time of the transmission there was no reasonable ground for believing such an offense had been committed. Okay, so we've gotten through 3. We've got 3 more. So now this is once again Chicago Police Detective Kimberly Murray. So on January 29, 2019, at around 5:55 a.m., Jussie Smollett reported in person that he was a victim of a battery, a violation of Chapter 720, so on and so forth. Okay. So the reporting that on January 29, 2019, at approximately 2 a.m. near the intersection of New Street and Lower North Water Street in Chicago, Cook County, Illinois, two unknown offenders approached Jussie Smollett from behind, and Jussie Smollett was punched in the face and kicked in the back, causing bodily harm to Jussie Smollett. And Jussie Smollett knew that at the time of this transmission, there was no reasonable ground for believing that such an offense had been committed. Okay, and it's in violation of Chapter 720, Act 5, Section, so on and so forth, the same for all of them. Okay, now we're going to move on to count 5. So this is, again, Chicago Police Detective Kimberly Murray. On January 29, 2019, at around 7:15 p.m., Jussie Smollett reported, so the times are changing. Before it was 5:55 and then it was 2:45, so we're getting later and later in the day, but it's still on January 29th of 2019. So, okay, on January 29, 2019, at around 7:15 p.m., Jussie Smollett reported in person that he was the victim of a battery, a violation of Chapter 720, Act 5. Okay, 12-3A1 of the Illinois compiled statutes. Okay, so at approximately 2 a.m. near the intersection of New Street and Lower North Water Street, so the locations aren't changing. He's claimed 2 unknown offenders approached Jussie Smollett from behind and engaged in a physical altercation with Jussie Smollett, causing bodily harm to Jussie Smollett. And of course, Jussie Smollett knew at the time of this transmission there were no reasonable grounds for believing that such an offense had been committed. Okay, so that's count 5. And now the last count is again disorderly conduct. Now we have a new officer. It's a detective, a Chicago police detective by the name of Robert Graves. Now he comes in and a report to the effect that an offense had been committed to wit. So on February 14th, now the date has changed. On February 14th, 2019, at around 12:15 p.m., Jussie Smollett reported in person that he was the victim of an aggravated battery, a violation of chapter, okay, so on and so forth. You can read that there. He reported that on January 29, 2019, near 341 East Lower North Water Street in Chicago, Cook County, 2 unknown males, which we now know were 2 brothers, 2 African brothers, one of whom wore a mask, approached Jussie Smollett and engaged in a physical altercation with Jussie Smollett. And the 2 unknown males made physical contact of an insulting or provoking nature with Jussie Smollett by putting a rope around his neck. And Jussie Smollett knew that at the time of this transmission, there was no reasonable ground for believing that such an offense had been committed. And that concludes it. That's it. Let's see. So there you have it. Jussie Smollett, that's the case. And like I say, this has not yet been, it has not gone to court with, if you recall, or if you haven't listened to my, on the Jussie Smollett special report by Dan Webb, the special counsel. He did a lengthy report, and I went over that on my channel, so you can find that over there. And he explained that he is going to go to trial. Jussie Smollett will be going to trial. However, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, it's been put on hold. So that's everything. I hope you enjoyed. It's a very fascinating case, and we'll see what happens. Thank you again for stopping by the Daily Facts. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up and feel free to share and subscribe. All right, thanks so much. Talk to you soon. Bye.